sweating like.
There you go.
Good, mate.
Yeah, pulling a Rocky IV, as you say.
Yeah, you know what is it? They say we come out of this hunk, chunk, or a monk, or something like that. So I'm aiming for hunk as opposed to chunk.
I like that, hunk, chunk, or monk. I'm trying to go for a hunk and monk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably that'd be good. Yeah.
That's that's the next level even. But yeah, what do you do for workout, Sam?
Well, it's funny this. About 2 years ago, I bought some a rack of dumbbells. Yeah, a stack. Old cast ones that were painted in Ammonite. Never used them. As soon as lockdown started, you know, I don't even know why. I remember the first time I went in garage, and now every other day. I've just had a few days off, but yeah, Rocky style, you know what I mean? I usually take Steve, fast hours walk, and straight in there. So I've been in today, hour with you, and then I'll take him for a walk, get our lasses tea on. So
that's awesome.
You've got to do something. I'm not motivated at the minute. I'm not sleeping at all. Fucking sleep's terrible.
Oh, sorry about that, Sam.
No, it's just one of them things, mate. I mean, we went to bed last night about 11:30. I was awake at 1, and then I must have fallen asleep about 5:30. And then alarm goes off at 6. I get our lass up, make her some snap, you know, to take to work, scran, lunch, and then pretty much stay up. So, but there's a lass. I don't know whether you saw one of my tweets earlier. There's a lass who she lives in France now. She was in British prison service, and she had a bit of a rough time. So she tweeted about something somebody put about her being a lost soul of that. Because, you know, if you're a good person in there and you kick back against the system, then they come for you, sort of thing. So I was thinking about that, madly enough. Strange.
So I just pulled this up, this tweet up. Let me zoom in here a bit.
Oh, yeah. That's the girl.
Debbie Hawk. We're two of the same, you know, with someone else who decided I was the trouble, so I'm not. Managers can sit back and watch bad treatment, yet say nothing. They're the ones with damaged souls.
Yeah,
the long out the door approach is now resulting in lots of ex-staff comparing notes.
Yeah.
Wow. What is she, what's the context there, Sam? Well, you responded. Let's read this. You said, yep, that's how it is. Love. You can call me Sam now. That's what everyone, including mom, has always called me. Neil was picked by Tony K. Daddy was not and is still not worthy last. Okay, yeah. So what's the context there, Sam?
It's just, you know, when you see things aren't right, you do the right thing. A lot of people don't, or like we've said before, they don't have the strength of character to do that, even though they know something's wrong. And then no matter how good a person are or how right you are in other people's eyes, you're always seen as like a bit of a bad bagged egg or something like that. Hi, Tammy.
So what?
So, you know, I'm going to have to take this off, Maddie. Listen, I'm a bit sweaty. Just excuse me.
No, yeah, go for it, Sam. I'm actually, you know, I'm gonna join you. Let me take off my sweatshirt too.
Yeah, I didn't want to get cold after just coming out of there, but it's quite warm in here now.
Yeah, it was. I was actually up pretty early this morning, as well. But fortunately, I have been sleeping pretty good recently.
Good.
But yeah, I've been up pretty early recently. But give me a sec here. Yeah, so I've been up pretty early recently. But yeah, it's starting to warm up a bit here. As we get into the mid-morning on the West Coast. Good morning to all the Americans tuning in, and a good evening to all my UK folk, and hello to everybody else tuning in around the world. Thank you for listening. So, Sam, what were I just wanted to ask about your workouts, because we were just talking about that. Yeah, what do you do? Because you said you're using your dumbbells now, right?
Yep. What do I do? You go on YouTube. Yeah. I trained a lot in my youth when I played rugby, but I go on YouTube, find some geezers, older men, training in your 50s, dumbbell workouts, taking a dead basic one. And basically, I decided I'm going to do that till June, and then high rock girl, and then take it up a notch. Yeah. So, but basically, like a lot of people, I've had a gym membership forever. I weren't using it. We've got into this crazy lockdown, and I've got to that, a lot of time for reflection. Mrs. is a lot younger than me. I've got kettlebells. I've got some of them. Chopping logs, good man. Started using the kettlebells as well. So basically, we've got an age gap, right, which isn't a problem as far as living goes. However, I want to be around a long time. My daughter's, she's only 13, so it's time to do something about it. So it's ironic, isn't it? I've had a gym membership for 2 years and never been.
Yeah.
And now I'm going in my bloody stinky, freezing cold garage every day. So that's how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cool though, Sam. Honestly, that's what I want to do. Like, that's a goal for me, is to have my own personal gym in my garage. And yeah, I want to get there eventually. But likewise, I have a gym membership too with Anytime, and I haven't been able to use it because it's just been shut down because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I just been working out pretty much just in my room, but also been going on long walks too. But that's cool that you're taking that seriously now. But yeah, it's fun. I love seeing the other fitness people or people who are into fitness, and on YouTube too, like seeing all the YouTube people who do their fitness stuff. Do you know who Scooby is, Sam? You should check out Scooby if you don't know. He's this dude. I think he's from California. Really laid back guy, and yeah, he does like pretty much all weightlifting, and a lot of like at home workout stuff too. Bald white guy, like yourself, pretty big too. But yeah, he's really really fun dude, really laid back dude. I'm pretty sure he's in California. But yeah, if you just search Scooby workout, he'll pop up right away.
It's definitely the thing is I've been heavy, overweight me forever. You know that job the prison service doesn't help me. You're shattered all the time, long hours, stressed, poor diet. So this lockdown, we've changed the lifestyle, me and Amy. So that can only be good now. And like I said, supermarkets and that thing of the past for me now. Local farm shop, I will carry on going there, buying fresh produce, and we've got a local butchers, and that's it, mate. So the other thing is, speaking to so many people now, phone conversations with people. So I'm sort of being led in a certain direction. You know what I mean? I do want to help people. It does make you feel better. It's really strange time for me, actually, but it's all good.
Oh wow! So how you guys changed all that because of the pandemic?
Stop going to supermarkets because it's chaos. You know what that's like yourself.
Yeah.
Where we live, right? It's not a village, but there's a lot of greenery in that.
Yeah.
And we'd seen this farm shop. The last time I went to the supermarket, I thought, I'm not doing this again. It was just crazy. People were just being crazy. So I went to this farm shop. You can get everything you need to live, so it's all fresh. It's really nice. You pay a little bit more, but you can tell what you're buying is quality stuff. So the sad thing is, isn't it, that some of the poorest people eat probably the most junk food or whatever, when realistically to eat healthy, there's not a lot of difference, is there? It's
Yeah.
putting the effort in to make things and having time rather than bunging something in a microwave or whatever.
Yeah, I
So
agree. I think the time commitment is what deters a lot of people, but also too, like you said, the
convenience.
yeah, like the socioeconomic convenience for people who don't have that sort of income available to them. So yeah, I know what you mean, but that's pretty amazing, Sam, that the pandemic has changed your family's life that way. I think a lot of people are making changes because of the pandemic, and I think there's this like enlightenment happening, like a new new enlightenment almost. I don't know, like we'll see how big it is, but uh, and I'm curious to know if it'll affect the young people or just people a little older than me, because I think the people it'll affect the most are like the 28 to like 40 28 and above, I would say. Like
Yeah, I
whereas
think
like
youngsters have a different outlook. Because I'm not one of them. I don't know what they see, but you know, when I was younger, I think youngsters have they use the word stress a lot. I'm stressed. You know, I don't. It depends on your youth and your parents a lot, but a lot of it now. You know, when I was young, sort of from 8, 9 upwards, I was outside with my friends all day playing and that sort of thing. And, you know, you went to school, you got to school on time, got some exams, left school at like 16, 17, got myself a job, and away you go. And I've always worked. You know, we didn't have all this. I can't help thinking that social media is, for me at the minute, it's really good. I'm connecting with lots of people, speaking to people, helping people. But I think youngsters, I just think it's destroying them. And I'm as bad as everyone else. You know, you buy your youngster a phone, and a phone is so much more, isn't it? I mean, there's more technology in a phone than there were in Apollo 13. You can do everything, really, aren't they? They're like a mini computer. So,
yeah,
and
they're pretty amazing. Just speaking on the power of a phone, like Martin Shkreli, that pharmacy nut who got in trouble,
oh
he
yeah,
was basically running his company from jail or from
yeah, of
prison
course, yeah.
because he had a phone
Yeah,
and an internet connection, which is like, it's true. If you have a smartphone and internet connection, you know, you can get a lot done.
exactly,
Yeah, but
exactly. So
yeah, just an anecdote to the point you were making, but on social media. So I don't know if
yeah,
you wanted to continue with that, Sam.
well, yeah, I just think it's not good.
Yeah,
I don't know where you're going to go with it. I don't think it's good for kids. You know.
yeah, it's
Oh,
definitely like, I don't know. I think about it like this way. Like I think like my friends and I don't know, the people I think associate with are um you know, of a certain, you know, birds of a feather flock together to a pretty large degree, I would say. But so you kind of get in these echo chambers socially because you're used to hanging out with people that have similar experiences to you. So you're not really immediately aware of the people who are very different from you and how many of those people there actually may be. So I think that really affects a lot of people who, especially people who haven't done a lot of traveling.
it does. I just, you know, I put a tweet out yesterday, right? It weren't being clever. It's just something that annoys me. You know, I have friends that text me and that, and when people are texting me now, I phone them. So I get a text and a phone, and people answer the phone. They go, "What's wrong?" I go, "Nothing's wrong. Why? Well, what are you phoning for?" I can't be asked to reply back, you know. And the other thing, people are sending me messages yay long, yeah, you know, on sort of Twitter, my Facebook, and that sort of thing. So I think if someone's taking the time to message me, and a lot of these people aren't having a good time at the moment, then I've just got into the habit of dropping them my phone number, send me a text and speaking to people. You know, it's a lot more human, isn't it? So it wasn't something that, you know, I'm not going, look at me, I'm helping people. What I'm saying is just fucking speak to people, for God's sake. All this text message crap. You know, speaking to people, that's what we want. We can't have this human contact now, go up and hug people and stuff like that. But yeah, you know.
Yeah, I agree, Sam. You just reminded me because I was doing an interview yesterday with Mr. Richard Gage, and my cousin called me, and I couldn't. I wanted to answer, but I couldn't because I was literally just about to start, and I haven't called him back yet. So you reminded me to call him back. But yeah, I agree. I think it's people definitely remember phone calls more than they remember texts. And they remember FaceTime, you know, the most out of all of them. So
the thing is now, dude, right? I've got plenty of time on my hands. Yeah. The missus, she's like, you know, she's a key worker. She's working. So I'm looking after the house, looking after the animals. Monday, we're going to try and get my daughter and start helping her with the schoolwork and that. So it looks like kids aren't going back for a long time, or some of them aren't going back for a long time over here. So, you know, I have got time. And now we're speaking something's nothing for me. And if it helps them and that. And I'm also making a lot of friends as well. You know, these friends are people I've never seen, but I'm getting to know them through speaking to them, which you can do. And once this is done, there must be now, I don't know, 25, 30 people. I'm going to be on my bike and I'm off all over this country. I'm going to go and have a brew, meet people, and we'll carry on the relationship that we started during this lockdown. So, you know, that's where we're at.
That's awesome, Pepsi. And I am aware that my green screen's not working. It's something to do with StreamYard, guys. So that's why. But that sounds really fun, Sam. That sounds yeah, like a really great plan. And yeah, there's just so many changes going on in the world and in people's lives because of this pandemic. It's causing so many societal changes. And I agree with you, like about just furthering your point on the poor people and diet and the type of food they buy. Related to that, I read recently that billionaires, like tech billionaires in the States, they increased their net worth like by something like $430 billion or something, which is it's just ridiculous. And Edward Snowden basically said that due to the elite's incompetence, like the poorest among us will pay for it, basically.
It's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? You know, people, I don't know, it's bad. I mean, supermarkets are as bad. You know, if my nan was alive, bless her, you know, I grew up when my daughter always goes on about growing up in 60s and 70s, you know. We're in the 2000s now. We're not in the dark ages. But them dark ages, you know, you did have convenience stores, but you go in a convenience store now and you've got chopped vegetables, yeah, bottled water and things like that. If my nan was around now, you know, and she saw water on shelves that you could buy and things like this, you know, it's not what it used to be. I mean, when I was growing up, you know, people cooked, which doesn't take a lot of time. So I don't know. I think they should be teaching kids in school life skills like cooking and things like that. Get back to that. Do you know what I mean? Some of the subjects now and the subject matter and things like that, we're not preparing them or anything, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I had home ec in, I think it was my first high school. It wasn't a very big class. It was a pretty small elective, and mostly girls took it. But yeah, I think like even like knowing how to like keep track of finances, like the basics of that, that's never taught in school, you know. And thinking long term about certain things like that too. I don't think Yeah, it's weird. It seems like the priorities are in the wrong place. But for anybody tuning in just now, we are talking to Sam Samworth, author of Strangeways, a prison officer's story. I am reading this book right now, Life Behind Bars with Britain's most notorious criminals. It got some big names in there as far as criminals, if you're into that. But it's also got some
And
great
they're just the
lessons.
officers.
I like that, Sam. But there's also some great lessons in there here too. It's also entertaining, very funny at times, some dark humor. Which, if you're like me, you definitely enjoy dark humor.
Are you understanding the Yorkshire?
Yeah, a bit. If I find some, because I remember before it was when we first started talking, there were some words I had to ask you about, but so far I've been okay. But if I encounter some more verbiage that I'm unfamiliar with, I'll definitely know who to consult with. But yeah, I definitely recommend people check this out. It's on Amazon and Waterstones. So I'll link it in the description box. I bought it off Amazon because I live in the States. If you're in the UK, I'm guessing Waterstones would be cheaper for you. Or you can go to your local bookstore too. Like Sam and I were talking about earlier, he is now not really going to supermarkets because of this pandemic due to them being so crazy. So he's buying a lot more local. So likewise with books, you can try to buy local, but as far as I know, it's only on Amazon and Waterstones. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's cheap as chips on Amazon. So
yeah, Amazon. Just grab it on Amazon, guys. And I really like the book size because you do get all different shapes and sizes of books. So it's not too big, not too small. I got the paperback, and this is from Pan Publishing, Pan Macmillan, UK. So what's that? £8, guys. That's all it is. So check it out. I actually spoke about this. Actually, let me pull this up here, Sam. It was Pepsi Watson. I think it was. Yeah, here we go. Chris Blackman. I've sent your book, Sam. Praying it arrives. I got
yeah,
donated.
send him a copy.
Yeah, he said that. He said that he received a signed copy of Strangeways by Sam Samworth. So that was Pepsi Watson who actually got that. And I interviewed Pepsi yesterday live from a prison. So anybody who wants to check that out can check on my channel. And I'll link that too, actually. Yeah, I just want to relay the message, Sam. He thinks that this is going to be a pivotal document or pivotal piece of info in getting legislation changed. And I agree. I think, I really think it has that power. And Pepsi was making the point that it should be a much higher priority. And yeah, I do think that this book has that potential because it comes not just from someone who has experience in prison, but an employee of the state. So it's not a prisoner. So there's a stigma around prisoners and their believability and trust and credence, right?
Of course there is.
But Sam is a veteran of Strangeways and Forest Bank as well, HMP Forest Bank, HMP Strangeways. So he's definitely knows what he's talking about. So check that out, guys. It's really good, really well written, written in Yorkshire English. So if you need help with that, consult your local Yorkshireman, or you can just
or Yorkshire woman. Yorkshire woman, don't
woman.
forget.
Yeah, Yorkshireman or Yorkshire woman, or you can Google it, which I think Google or DuckDuckGo. That's actually what I prefer to use. But let's get back to current events, Sam. Any big updates there from Yorkshire?
Not really.
Yeah.
A little bit more movement, bit more traffic. people are traveling a bit further. You know, parks and beaches are getting hammered, but you know, we're like 8-10 weeks in now, so people are going to, aren't they? You know, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen next month or whatever. You know, we haven't seen Amy's mum now for 8 weeks, and we're not going to. She's one of these people who's had a letter from the government basically saying, "Go and lock yourself away forever." My uncle's the same. You know, his kids are shopping for him, but he's sort of isolated or whatever. As for us in our house, we've you know popped out in car and on my motorbike and that. We're not going far, just basically getting a bit of fresh air and getting out of the house for a bit. But interesting to see what happens in next month. But we've had a text. You know the school where my daughter goes. They've sent a message out. They're going to be taking some pupils back in the near future, limited, but certainly as far as my daughter's concerned, it could be as late as Christmas or next year, which is unbelievable.
Wow.
So
how would they determine who gets to go back?
I think it's the kids that's got exams next year.
Oh,
you know, the leavers.
Okay.
So it'd be sort of probably 14, 15-year-olds now, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't really know, mate. I don't think anyone knows, you know, we're just surmising or whatever, aren't we, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just speaking on exercise, because you mentioned getting sunlight, and that's something I do too. I try to walk every day. I think it was like 2 days ago. I didn't walk very much at all. But
Do you take your phone?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
You should film a bit. I'd like to see, you know, what the demo, what it's like where you live, the sort of, you know, architecture and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen. Well, I've been really backed up, but today's my day. I'm trying to get out a lot more content. I did my interviews yesterday, and I got more today. But I have this skywalking series, Sam. I don't know if you've seen it. I've only released 2 so far, but it's kind of where I walk around, and then I speed up the clip so people can, you know, see more of the city. But I do take my phone, and it logs how much I go. So I just want to show people in case no one believes me. It's 4.8 miles a day. I don't know if you can see that, but
oh yeah. So how long are you out? An hour or so?
yeah,
an hour and a half.
About an hour. So and it's really great. I'm really glad I started this habit during this pandemic, because before I would just kind of exercise for like 45 minutes, like lift weights or, you know, jog 20 minutes and then do weightlifting the rest, or some calisthenics, you know, like body weight exercises. But ever since I started walking, I really have felt
Better.
Yeah, it feels, and just mentally too, you know, it's like it's really great for just thinking and jogging thoughts, and just juggling thoughts too. So but as far as here, not really any big changes either on the coronavirus pandemic front.
Are you not unlocking more, or is it up to each governor?
Yeah, I think it's still up to each governor, and Kate Brown is the governor of Oregon. I think she extended it to, what is it, July, mid-July, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so and they haven't changed it. So yeah, it's not going to change in the near future that I can see. But I wanted to talk about this thing that it just popped up as I was reading, Sam. People smuggling things in.
Oh yeah.
And you guys actually have to search babies, and there was actually a 70-year-old grandmother or 70-year-old mother involved in something too.
Oh, this is I'll tell you this story, right? A lot of people going about corruption. A lot of officers I work with at Strangeways, you have to understand, Strangeways high security prison. So your entry exit procedure is a lot more strict than a normal prison. Yeah. you know, on your way on your way in, you walk through a metal detector, a portal. You have to take coins out of your pockets, take your belt off. A lot of boots have metal plates in, so you have to take your boots off or whatever, yeah. Whereas a lot of prisons like Forest Bank, you just walk straight in, you know, get your keys, take your coat off, and away you go. And a lot of prison officers get on their high horse about corruption and, you know, about these people being absolute scumbags. You know, a lot of people, a lot of civilians, a lot of people who've got loved ones in prison go on about corruption. So I'll tell you that the people who plan to take things in, the people, you know, who see they can make some money and that, you know, it's all contrived or whatever, very small percentage. Opportunists, yeah, very small percentage. A lot of people I saw who became corrupt. I'll give you. I'll tell you about the old woman in a bit. Let me just tell you, this lad, right? When I worked with him, he was 21. He was not big in stature. 21. You know, you've got kids his age. You've got 30, 40, 50-year-old males, violent people, and they can make it difficult for you. You know, they'll get in the face, they'll intimidate you. If you're walking down a landing, you know, they can make it uncomfortable, so people turn around and go the other way. And they draw people in, you know, there's a lot of charmers in prison. So this young lad, I worked with him. He tried his best, you know. A lot of these youngsters sort of model themselves on you. So I was a certain age. I was in early 40s. So, you know, I have a way of dealing with people, and they might try the same way, which isn't necessarily going to work. You know, you get a bit of the dynamic security going with a prisoner. So you know a difficult prisoner, you know how to deal with him. And they try and deal with him the same. They might kick back in the face. Anyway, I worked with this lad for 18 months. And you could see he used to get stressed and that. Then he disappeared, right? So he's gone. He didn't phone in. He just didn't come in one day, never come back, never phoned in, no sickness, no nothing like that. Prison tried to contact him. He was just gone, yeah. So this was about 2003. So let's fast forward 2007, 2008, K-Wing at Strangeways. So a lad who'd been in Forest Bank at that time and then gone to a dispersal prison, which is a long-term prison. He's on K-Wing on accumulated visits, which means he's come back to Manchester because his family are in Manchester. He might have a month of visits every day, and then he'll go back to his nick, which might be 100 miles away, yeah. It just means that they can save the visits up, have them in a local jail with a family, and then go back to their long-term prison. So he's on K-Wing. So he come up to me. He says, "You remember Mr.?" And we're talking about this lad, yeah. I says, "Yeah." I knew what you were going to say. He said, "It took us about 8 months, Mr. S. You know, we're badgering him every day to bring us a phone." He says, and then he brings us a phone in. He says, so we paid him 600 quid. However it got paid, you know, arranged on the out for someone to meet him, give him 600 quid or whatever. So he come in one day, chuck the phone on the bed. "Fucking leave me alone now. Yeah, I've done." He says, so we left it a couple of weeks and we started on him then. "Bring us another phone." So he says, you know, another 600 quid. We went, "No, we'll give you 100 quid. Because we've got him then. You know, we've got evidence. We've sort of pulled him in and he's in our grips." And this is a 21-year-old lad, yeah. So he says we had him bringing all sorts in. He were bringing at weekend 2 litres of Coke. So you could take drinking, you know, bottles of pop, and he were breaking 2 litres of Coke in with a bottle of Jack Daniels in it. So he'd empty the Coke out, pour bringing that in for the cons and stuff. So he said we had him for about, you know, I don't know, 8, 12 months, and then he just disappeared. So what that lad did, he realised himself he was in a no-win position. He brought stuff in. He were fearful that, you know, he could end up going to jail himself or whatever. So he just left the job, you know, just walked away, which is the only way out really sometimes. Now that lad now will be maybe late 30s, 40. He's still a friend on my Facebook. You know, he's married with a family, working. He's not a bad person. However, he was very young and vulnerable and naive, and they drew him in, you know, broke him, and that's what happens. Is a lot of people get drawn in. You know, it's not intentional. I've no doubt he never started that job thinking, you know, I'm going to take phones in, I'm going to make money or whatever. Old cliche, prisoners have got, you know, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they work on people. And a lot of people I saw were really young. Some got caught, sacked or whatever. It's a tough audience, I'll tell you. You know, when prisoners get in your face and that, it's not easy. And in the private sector then, there was only 2 of you on a wing, 86 prisoners. So if I was working with you, I'm not with you all the time. You know, you might be doing a job in the office, I'll be unlocking prisoners. So it's not like you're together or you're sort of protecting each other, that sort of thing. So, you know, all these officers who scream about corruption and MPs and everyone else, you know, they're not all. There's a lot of vulnerable people, and that's what you're getting now in the public sector as well. You're getting a lot of young staff in, so that's where we're at the minute, mate. You've disappeared off my screen, Addy. Are you still there?
Yeah, sorry about that, Sam. Just
so
for a second.
So what I'm saying to you is they're not all bad people. You know, the other thing is, you know, you get female officers who fall for prisoners, yeah, and may start sexual relations and bringing things in for them. Let me tell you now, one of my friends always said this, who I work with, one of my nurse managers. She says this summer, she said to me, you know, you got summer far more dangerous than money or good looks. Well, I was a bit insulted by that, you know, because I think I'm a good looking guy. Anyway, and that's charm. And, you know, a lot of prisoners are charming, you know, and most people meet people in the workplace, you know, future partners, things like this sort of thing. And they spend a lot of time in prison and they will fall for these people. Now, we know it's wrong, you know, I know it's wrong or whatever, but it's what happens. So it's the nature of the job. It's a difficult one. Like I said, some people, it's a plan, they see an opportunity, but vast majority of people who corrupt, yeah, chopping logs, correct wages, right staff, yeah, he's right. The money's rubbish, yeah. The recruitment, you'll see me on Twitter all the time saying this, mate. The recruitment's outdated. It's toss. You know, it's not good. The training's not good. You know, you need to look at the sort of people you're attracting. You can have young people in job if they've got experience around them, but right now there's a lack of experience and they've got a lot of new staff. So I've no doubt corruption has gone up. And we've said this before, you know, the money, 22 grand a year, is nothing for that job. You know, right now, I can't think of any jobs in this country that would be more stressful. Because I've got mates who are police in the police, yeah, who are frontline. As a frontline copper, maybe 5% of your time, you're living on adrenaline in situations that are potentially violent. Rest of the time, you know, you might be out on patrol or training or doing paperwork or something like that. Prison officer right now, working on a landing, you know, it'll be so stressful, it's unreal.
Every day.
Yeah. And the young people, the other thing about young people is, you know, you haven't got them life skills. You don't know how to talk to people. I've already said that. They'll see me as a 40-year-old man saying to someone, listen, you fucking dick, get behind your door, I'll sort that out later. And then they copy you. Well, me talking to someone my age who I know and them at 21 talking to them the same, it doesn't have the same effect, mate. So for me, right now, looking at the situation in prisons, yeah, and it's dead simple, this. They need to stop sending as many people to prison, yeah? Maybe 15%, but they need an alternative. It's all right, these do-gooders saying, oh, we don't need to send them. But let me tell you now, if somebody's doing robberies Every time they break into an old person's home, that old person will probably live in fear for the rest of their life in their own house, yeah? So the fact that he might only get 3 months for robbing a house, you need to do something to deter them if you're not going to send them to prison. But you definitely need to stop sending as many people to prison and find alternatives. License, when you're out on license, again, you know, drinking and drugs. If somebody is on license, unless they commit a crime, we shouldn't be sending them back to prison. If somebody's 10 minutes late for an appointment, you don't send them back to prison. If they have a pint of lager because they've got out of prison, you know, and they're celebrating, you don't send them back to prison. It's ridiculous. You know, it's things we do. It'd be like me leaving prison and somebody saying to me, don't eat anything. Well, I'm going to eat something and I'm going back to prison. So don't make that part of the conditions, yeah? So stop sending as many people, get realistic targets for licenses. And the other thing is they need to reduce the capacity of prisons. So Strangeways capacity is maybe 1,200, yeah? Reduce it to 800. So you've got more single cells. You'll still have doubles, but you have more single cells, yeah? And all prisons need better facilities. We're talking about health, hygiene, showers, that sort of thing. You know, that's why it's shown up. Some prisons aren't fit for purpose. Sanitation, showers, things like that, you know, it needs improving. Forget education and all that shit. Get that sorted first. And look at recruitment. Get decent staff, improve the training, look after them staff, and hang on to them staff. Until they do them things there, them few basic things, then nothing's going to get any better. But the problem is that all these little groups are coming at it from different angles. Somebody wants better education. Somebody wants every prison to be single cells. You know, it's not going to happen. That's not realistic. Yeah, because you either have to build shit more prisons or you'd have to empty half of the population out. Again, that's not realistic, you know. So this is where people need to start. They need to start with basics. I am hopeful that people will look at the situations that prisons are being in and maybe start trying to do that. The prison service need to wake up and smell the roses as well. You know, I can imagine now me on TV with someone from the prison service, and they'll say to me, what's wrong with training? And I'll say, it's outdated, it's crap, it's not fit for purpose, you're not recruiting the right people. And the standard answer would be something like, well, it's worked for the last 50 years or something. You know, what they do with the prison training, Addy, it's 8 weeks. They try and make it professional. You know, you're doing a lot of classroom work and role playing. It's not worth a toss. Forget that. The best thing to do with new recruits is get them into prison with somebody to see how it works. Yeah. Watch how people work before they go live and they get the set of keys. Sat in a classroom, doing role play, doing tests, doing homework, does jack shit. Nothing. The actual process, you know, you do role plays as part of your assessment. What a load of bollocks. What a load of bollocks. Yeah. Interview people, yeah, do a health check on them, fair dues, you know, make sure someone's not going to, you know, the fit, the blood pressure, whatever, do that, interview people, but you're going to have to make it more attractive, like your man says on there, terms, conditions, wages, things like this. It needs looking at and addressing if people want to do something about it.
Yeah.
All these little groups we've said before pulling in different directions, you know, it's not going to help matters. Yeah. I've spoke about education before. So some balloon on Twitter keeps going on about education. We need more spaces. So let's just say the prison population now is 82,000 or thereabouts. If I had the ability and the money to make 82,000 places, education places tomorrow, yeah, how many people do you think could turn up for education? Do you think 82,000 would go?
No. I don't
No,
think so.
let me tell you, the people who probably need the education don't want to go. Yeah, that's the problem. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The other thing is the teachers at Strangeways and at Forest Bank, yeah, they're normal people. We've said this before, do you want a class full of disruptive people who need educating and might be hard work, or you're going to get a class full of people who are going to sit there quietly and listen? Which you're going to choose as a teacher? Yeah, you're going to have the quiet class, aren't you? So you can have as many places as you want in education. You're not guaranteed to fill them. So, by all means, make education fit for purpose. You probably need basic education for everyone. You need to change all that process, but that's not a priority now. The priority is what's our favorite word or two words? Dynamic security, staff prisoner relationships. Get prisoners out, get a settled regime so me and you can start talking, building relationships, make the facilities better, stop sending people as many to prison, stop sending them back on license, yeah, and provide more single cells, reduce the capacities of prisons. Wow. There you go. It's dead easy, isn't it, really?
That was really well explained, Sam. I think people who don't understand the ins and outs of a lot of prison politics now do because of that. And you are right. It's a multivariable situation, and there's a hierarchy of needs and desires as well, as you said, with hygiene and the most basic stuff being at the bottom. But yeah, I want to see this change too, Sam, and I believe we're definitely on the right side of the future. Thinking about it with a hopeful lens.
Yeah,
but hopefully it'll come to fruition as well. But yeah, so you've been reading anything recently, Sam? I think the last time I asked you that was a couple weeks ago.
I've just actually got Chris Thrall's book. He just sent me a copy.
Oh, there you go. Eating Smoke by Chris Thrall. And I actually did interview Chris Thrall a couple weeks ago. It was pretty short. It was only about half an hour. But he informed me that he does want to chat again. And I do recommend that people go check his channel out as well. He's a former British commando who used to work in Hong Kong as well. So he's got some amazing life stories. Just
nice
like
guy, laid back, very easy to talk to.
Yeah,
he's a really guy you could just crash in a bar, have a few beers, and speak for hours.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
not necessarily about prison or Royal Marines. Just things in life in general.
Yeah, he's really easygoing guy. He's easy to talk to. Yeah, and definitely a man of the people for sure. But yeah, how are you liking that book, Sam?
I've literally just started it.
Yeah.
I think I got it yesterday, so I'll let you know though.
Yeah, keep us updated. I definitely am interested in reading that as well. I am chugging through Charlie Robbins's book right now, which is very big. It's something like 500 or 600 pages. I'm not really sure.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, it's a lot of quotes and stuff too. So it's not like completely text the whole way, but yeah, it's still a lot of material. And I'm almost done with yours as well. And Pepsi and I actually discussed another book, Robert Greene's most recent release, The Laws of Human Nature, which I actually do own. And I have started, but I started it in, what was I think it was last year when I was in Germany. And then I just, I left and I forgot it there. I just left it there. And then I got it sent recently here. So I'm going to get back into that one as well. Because Pepsi said he was greatly affected by reading that one. I think he's still is reading it. I don't know if you've ever read any Robert Greene,
No, I
Sam, but
haven't.
he's one of my favorite authors, if not my favorite one, and I highly recommend people check that out. But yeah, just going back to what I mentioned earlier. I don't know if you had any more stories or wanted to go further with that, as far as what I mentioned about the old lady smuggling stuff in.
Right, let me tell you. This is a story I tell, right? It's on camera. It's evidence, this story. It's well, I'll tell you it and you try and get your head around it. But when people are talking about corruption, that's people from the outside, politicians, people who rag on prison officers and the service in general. When they're talking about corruption, a couple of little stories. So, like you've said, we've had prisoners take small babies off the loved ones, go straight into the nappy, take something out of it, phone or drugs, and plug it up the backside. Not everybody, but that does happen. So when you understand that someone is prepared to do that, and then they'll hand the baby straight back to the missus. Anyway, we had a Cat A prisoner. He was round about 50 years old. Yeah. So he's had a visit. All visits hold in most prisons are cameraed up, yeah. But obviously, depending on the size of the room, cameras won't be on everyone all the time. Obviously, you're sort of looking. However, Cat A, small visits, so the cameras are on the people, obviously, all the time. Highest security level, as we already know. So he's having a visit from his mother, who's in her 70s. Yeah. So what she does is she takes something, puts her hand into her. I'll try and make this as least gruesome as possible. She puts her hand in her underwear where she has something plugged. She takes a parcel out, hands it to her 50-year-old son, who sticks it up his backside. So that 70-odd-year-old woman, we know it was a phone. They didn't get the phone off it, but they knew it was a phone. So his mother has brought a phone inside her. Yeah. She's taken it out on a visit, passed it to her son, who's put it up his backside. That in itself, when you understand, or you listen to that, that is what you're up against. Yeah. And once that phone's plugged, you're not going up there. No officer's going up there. You can't retrieve it. There's no evidence, then nothing's happening to either party. If they got the phone, if she'd passed it and somebody got it, she'd be looking at prison for bringing it in, and he'd be looking at extra time.
Right.
But that, this is what you're up against. I'll tell you something else as well. We've had legal people, that's legal secretaries, even a barrister who's been caught bringing items into prison for prisoners. So
wow, that's pretty impressive there, Sam.
You're never going to stop. You're never going to stop drugs. It don't matter if somebody says I'm going to stop drugs going in prison. Yeah, whatever. You're not going to stop it. Supply and demand. Right now, the demand is massive because people are bored. They're wound up. They're aggressive. They're pissed off with the system. So people who weren't using drugs, everyone's using. Start going back, getting people out, get the dynamic security. There's always a percentage of the prison population that will use, but at a minute, everyone's using. So start getting people out. The demand won't be as high, but every prison in the world is going to have drugs. End of it. It's as simple as that. You need to get over that fact as well. So
yeah, and Sean Atwood actually explained it kind of succinctly as well. He's like, basically you have a bunch of dangerous people, most of whom are addicted to drugs, locked up. They're going to spend most of their time trying to figure out how to get drugs, if they're bored.
Of course you are.
There's nothing else to do really. So and we got about 5 minutes left here, Sam. I don't know if you have a concluding thought. Otherwise, I have at least one more question to
Fire
ask.
away.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier about female guards like sleeping with inmates. Does it ever
Sexual
happen that
favors.
male guards sleep with inmates?
Has it ever?
Do male guards ever sleep with inmates?
In female prisons? Or in male prisons?
Either or.
I've never known anything in a male prison.
Yeah.
Female prisons, I've come
I'm
across
sure it
quite,
happens. Yeah.
quite. I personally would never want to work in a female prison, but I've no doubt, you know, people will do things for sexual favors.
Why wouldn't you want to work in a female prison, Sam?
It's different to a male population.
Yeah. Maybe we should save that one for next time.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
Yeah, let's do that. And yeah, just got a few minutes left here, but just going a little bit more about the male versus female thing. Do you think that like the guards should be the same sex? Like male prisons should have male guards only, female prisons should have female guards only?
Let me start. I've worked with some cracking female officers, really good female officers. Some of the best officers I've worked with were female. You know, if I had my list of top 20 people I've ever worked with, possibly half of them will be female officers. Some of my favourite officers to work with were female officers. There is a place for female officers, definitely. You know, there's some who are really, really good. However, I think there should be a ratio. Myself, when I was in the private sector, when I first started at Forest Bank, the ratio was probably about 30% were female staff. By the time I left, it was near to 50% of staff were female. For me, male and female jails maybe should have, I don't know, 70 or 80% male, maybe 20 or 30% female staff in a male jail, and a female jail the same or something like that. Because it's a different job. It is definitely a different job. I've had long chats with some of my friends who are females, and the ones who are switched on, you know, and look at it, that they can see it's a different job. It's a lot of prisoners approach it differently. The vast majority of prisoners wouldn't assault a female member of staff. Yeah. They do regard the most prisoners, again, female staff in a different regard to males. You know what I mean? Just the same as I would, you know, if somebody pisses me off, oh my God. Female guard in New York had an affair with inmate and helped him escape.
It seems like you read about it pretty often.
You do, because you know why? That's what the press get on. They're gonna report on that, aren't they? It's like deaths in custody. You know, I always say, you know, prisons, you know, the stats are there for every prison, how many people have died in there, but there's no stats for how many people's lives you've saved or how much good you do. You know, so it's always had a bad press, prison. The things that get out there are not pleasant. They always put it in a bad light. So, yeah, I think there possibly should be a ratio realistically. I don't feel that's sexist or anything like that. It's same as talking about young staff. You know, that's not being ageist. You know, I've worked with some young staff who were cracking staff, but they had experience around them which helps them, you know, develop or whatever. But at the minute, you know, the people I'm talking to in prisons up and down the country are just saying the same thing. Lots of youngsters coming into the job, you know, far more youngsters than anything else, sort of under 22, 23. So, you know, you've got to look at the whole process or whatever. You either settle for it as it is now, so it's a revolving door, so people start and leave. You know, these people aren't going to be joining the prison service now and staying in it for 30 years like they used to. There will be people who come in and maybe stay in the job, get themselves a cushy number or whatever, but vast majority will come in, see it for what it is, and they'll be gone. So, you know, difficult one at end of the day.
Definitely. And we will delve into it further later this week. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is Addy Ads and Sam Samworth on Across the Pond and Stories from a Prison Guard.